Going to call this meeting of the Caneo Recreation and Park District Board of Directors to order. If we could have Director Lang, if you would lead us in the flag salute.
My pleasure. If you'd all stand and face the flag.
Ooh,
Uh-oh.
where's the flag?
Where it going?
Stand slowly.
Didn't even take it out yet. Stand and find the flag.
Wasn't in your.
Find flag.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Generally, they put it right in front of his palm. Yeah, just
Sorry, sorry, guys.
aesthetic.
Oh, look, it's like, there's a flag. right
Okay.
there.
Know the routine, placing your hand over your heart, but if you're a veteran, you may salute the flag. Look, if it stays straight.
Yeah, don't.
Ready, begin.
I
pledge
allegiance
to the flag
of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Director Lang. Eileen, if we could have a roll call, please.
Director Huffer,
Yes.
Director Lang,
Here.
Director Cusworth, Director Nichols.
Yes.
Director Buss.
Here.
Thank you very much. Item 3 on our agenda. Special presentations. I can't figure out why all these people are here today. It's very strange. I believe I'm going to turn this over to Rochelle to kick this off.
I think I actually see Tim Hagel in the audience and he's going to go first tonight.
Oh,
Just start.
Yes, you can step on up. Welcome for our safe passage.
And are you going to do the
Report.
PowerPoint? I'm just going to say click.
Cameron is.
oh, and Tim, just
You're going to do it?
Tim,
Okay.
keep in mind that we do have a clock on you, so.
I'm not a politician with total respect, so. My name is Tim Hagel and I am the Executive Director of Safe Passage Youth Organization, and I'm a Caneoan for 63 years. And I just wanted to give a brief update on the Park District's effort with Safe Passage Youth. Oh, I'm going to do the clicker? All right, let's give it a go. Okay. Safe Passage Youth started because of George Lang and because of Chief Randy Pennis and because of Assemblywoman Jackie Irwin. We're wise enough to see that the gang population in Thousand Oaks was increasing dramatically in 10 and 20% a year back in 2010. They started the homework club in the basement of an apartment complex here in Thousand Oaks, started with 12 children. Thank you, George. And we serve 600 now per day. And those 600 are, you can see some of them here, receive services every day for free. There's never an application. There's not a scholarship. You don't need that because you just show up at any one of the Park District centers or Safe Passage events on the weekends. Here's the kids. They go on about 8 field studies per year with many of the staff that's in this room right here. This happens to be our annual Underwood Farms where they spend the day out there giving the Underwood staff a run for their money. Why is this? Because I was born in Thousand Oaks, right at the corner of Hillcrest and Herbs, okay? And I watched this town go from my paper route of apartments that were exclusive apartments to gang shootings, stabbings, all underneath the fabric of Thousand Oaks. I invited the general manager, Jim Friedel, to a mad day where I wrote out formulas on a wall. True story, and said we can turn this around by taking George's homework club and bonding police officers with mothers and with children. I'm going to just fast forward and save you all the time for the chairman and explain fast forward. We operate 6 days a week. Our partnership is the Park District. Caneo Recreation and Park District is the primary, and it's partnered with Kiwanis and Rotary, Art Trek, Charity League, Assistance League, every kind of high school club there is that exists in the Caneo Valley, the Thousand Oaks Police Department, the Sheriff's Department, I'm probably missing like 50 of them that I can't think of, but I want to show you, this is just 2022, 21,000 homework assignments because of Rochelle, Tim, Dee, Melissa, and their whole team, probably many which are here today. We took 120 kids that were going to drown in a swimming pool, and y'all taught them how to swim. And we're planning on doing that much again this year. 73,000 diapers. Anybody know the name of our diaper bank in town here? There you go. Community outreach. Those diapers are all provided to us by community outreach. If you're going to ask a cop that was a cop for 38 years, what's the most popular size diaper? They're probably not going to know it, but I do. It's a size 5 and a size 6. Okay. 180,000 pounds of fresh food. So any of the children that come to Safe Passage, to the Caneo Rec and Park Centers, we run an outdoor fresh market where you can shop with dignity that rivals any farmer's market in Ventura County. And we provide just under 200,000 pounds of fresh food. We've driven down the crime in the Caneo Valley, and I'll go over that in a minute. We have a monthly medical clinic where you can come talk to a doctor and a nurse for free, and they can help you. There's no forms, no insurance. 8 weeks of summer camp for over 100 kids, and you can just read it all, right? I guess one that I'm really proud of is when I started as a kid here, I got a job taking a broom on my Stingray bicycle and going down Teal Boulevard, just going on sidewalks. And I got it from the Caneo Youth Employment Program. And I didn't know any kid in Thousand Oaks that didn't work for the Youth Employment Program. Everybody had jobs, but nobody wants to hire 16-year-olds anymore. I'm not quite sure why, but Safe Passage does. So we turn this around and we employ 15-year-olds to 18-year-olds. They're the only persons that are paid in the program. They receive $17 an hour doing community service on Costco trails and on parklands. And we're really proud of that. Last year, we gave out over 70,000 articles of clothing. We try to give out at least 1,000 to 4,000 articles of clothing per month, always free. So what is our goal? Our goal is making a safe community. And how you make a safe community is not by locking up 17-year-old boys from making mistakes. You make a safe community by meeting the needs of the community. That is safety, housing, food, literacy. The average 25-year-old locked up in a California prison has a reading ability of 4th grade. So this is how you solve the crime rate. Oh, you thought I was done. We're just talking 2022. We have our AmeriCorps fillers, 1,000 brand new coats provided this year. All of these are provided by all of these nonprofits. So as I tell everybody, Safe Passage is just like the cheerleader, pulling everybody together. That's what we do. We have an onboard daily school program where we load 300 children a day onto buses that have no neighborhood school. They don't have one. They go off to 5 different schools every day from their apartments. They also do not have backyards. So our volunteers are there making sure that they get safely on their buses. Our Promotoris program is that we have healthcare workers. We do about 1,200 immunizations a year and vaccinations for the children, always free, no applications, no grants. So you can see right here, this is how I kind of designed it as a mad scientist on how you can solve the crime is you just take care of the literacy as the core, not prison as the core. We have what's called STEAMO. Everybody has STEM. Like, that's so lame. Let's just like a dime a dozen STEM. And then everybody came out, woo, STEAM, we're going to add art. We're like, this is the Caneo Valley. Are you kidding me? Over 13,000 acres of open space? You got to add the O and have outdoors. The 600 children we serve do not have backyards. Not one of them. Not one have backyards. So their backyard is the Caneo Valley. I'm going to skip through. We have about 40 organizations that support Safe Passage. So I just kind of want to leave this one. I know there's many that I've probably missed up there, but on a daily basis, all of these organizations come together through the park district, through the recreation and park district to provide all of these services. Why did I come up with it? It was really simple. I've locked up hundreds and thousands of people, probably 400 people I sent away to prison for 20 years to life. Okay. And then I realized it's like wash, lather, rinse, repeat in a washing machine. You hook up the gang leader, he goes off to prison. A day later, there's a new gang leader. You hook him up, he goes off to prison, there's another one. So the cycle had to be broken. How do you do it? You just stop the future gang leaders. You get to them in 3rd grade. And that's what Caneo Rec and Park does. It targets providing services to children from 1st grade on, long before they would join gangs. No child in Safe Passage has ever joined a gang, and no child that goes through the Park District after school programs wakes up in 9th grade and goes, should I go to my STEMO class, play soccer at the soccer fields, or go do a drive-by shooting? Nobody does that, okay? And the reason they don't do that is because what the Park District offers. Here's the real numbers, and this is important. These are hot off the press, January 1. We have brought down the gangs with this program by 50% in less than 9 years. It had never come down one gang member in the 35 years before that, arresting thousands of gang members. And then the number of gang members never went down one. And now it's down 50% because of Safe Passage. That's the end.
Tim, you can't run away yet. You have to stay up there
I
because,
used all your time, sir.
well, okay, so I fibbed a little bit. I have a feeling our board members probably have a couple comments or questions, so I'm going to start.
Hope not too many, because mine is just thanking all of you for supporting this mad idea.
Okay, Director Nichols.
Yeah, thank you, Chief. Appreciate the update. I just want to know how much matter it's going to get. I mean, with what you've got, I mean, all the things you say, this is just a mad idea. I know you just like, you have these endless ideas. What's on the vision? What do you see coming
You
next?
see Rochelle shaking her head right over there. Where's Tim Dewar and Melissa and Dee, and there's Juliet. They're all shaking their head right now going, oh my God, does he sleep? Right? I will tell you this, that for the first time in 9 years, gang tension is up in Thousand Oaks. We track every Safe Passage, tracks every single gang member in town. And people are like, gang members? No, yes. Okay. And tension is up since December between the 2 rival gangs in town. So we're really, really going to work hard in 2023. And I think we're going to have to double down on our efforts this year.
Thank you. And thanks you for the update. But again, thank you for your endless and boundless energy.
Thank you.
Director Cussworth.
Yes, the clock's only for you. It's not for us. We can talk as long as we want. So don't worry about that. Are you talking to any other cities around California or the nation or the world about your program? Because this is obviously very impressive, and you kept thanking CRPD all through it, and which I will say, yes, this is very supportive, but I think that you're kind of the leader of this, and that's an amazing amount of work that you've done. And to get all of these people to cooperate and work together, it's kind of a vision that somebody needed to have, and really a example to other cities, like, you know, maybe LA or something. I mean, do you do any promotion?
We probably get 20 to 50 phone calls a week from people asking how to start it in other cities. I think of us like In-N-Out Burger, right? They just make good burgers. Chick-fil-A makes good chicken sandwiches. So I'm a Caneoan, like my heart and everything is here. And so we provide our blueprint to anybody in America that wants it, but we're not focused or interested in any way of our group organization expanding out to other cities. But to answer your question, every week, I actually feel bad sometimes because people call and we can't, get back to them. But I always tell them we'll provide everything they want. Our internet website is robust with our blueprints, everything. And most of all, what I tell them is that you have to have a park district, a city manager, a chief of police, a sheriff, the head librarian, the school board, and the school superintendent all on speed dial with one another, all willing to play at the table. If they're not, you can't do it. Or at least it's not going to work effectively like this, because that's what goes on in the Canal, and that's really what the secret sauce is.
Well, thank you very much because, oh, you're, stop. I don't think I've ever cried at a meeting. Have
Come
I?
on, now you're going to make me cry. You can't do that to a cop. Come on.
Well, I just want to say thank you because you're helping these young people. You're helping our community. And that's very, very important. You're doing a great work.
Thank you. I'll
And I
pass
was
that
gonna
on to
tell you I
everybody.
was going to volunteer, but I'm retiring in June and everybody that comes here, I keep saying I'm going to volunteer. So
I just volunteered for like 8 beer booths at the Rotary Festival, so.
So, again, this is, I think this is one of the best things that comes out of CRPD. So thank you.
Thank you.
Director Bus.
She teared me up, just so you
Oh
know.
my
That's
Well, I absolutely love this organization and love everything that you do about it. I am curious though, so for the kids that are older and once they're maybe out of high school, do you still have support for them, or how do they like play into it?
right. So that's a great question. How do we support the children? When we started this mad idea, we're like kindergarten through 5th. And then I went to Rochelle and I'm like, how about 6th? Okay, how about all of middle school? Tim Dewar's like, okay, we'll go through middle school. We've got kids in college we're supporting, from Boston College to Moore Park College to Oxnard to Cal State Channel Islands. So once they come through, we're buying cars, scholarships, we're paying insurance on kids going through college. So we never had any idea that it would need to continue on. So the answer is yes. We continue on with them. If anybody's connected at Cal Lutheran University, I want to see some love from them, from our kids to go to Cal Lutheran University.
Yeah. And then my other question is, I know fundraising is always very difficult for nonprofits and funding these things. So where are you getting mostly grants, or is it private donors? How do you fund this organization?
Yeah, so we have been fortunate enough for the last 2 years to receive grants from the city of Thousand Oaks, which we're deeply grateful for. And private donors, just folks that just come forward. There's never a fee for a child for anything. That's something we're really proud for. They're not bogged down with applications for even attending anything or anything like that. So that makes us really nimble to be able to react. And so we just, if you follow us on social media, we never ask for $1 ever from anybody. That's just not how we roll. And if people want to give us $1 or $5 or Amgen, if you'd like to give us 3 million, we'll take it. We'll take it.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Director Lang.
Wow. As you can imagine, I have a lot going through my mind, and I too get emotional. It seems like the older you get, the more emotional you get. But as Tim mentioned, getting all those people on speed dial, cooperating, collaborating, thinking the same way as you do. And that's how this started in our dining room with a number of people, including the chief of police. And Jim Friedel came, I think, to the second meeting, and Jackie Irwin, et cetera, et cetera. And everybody at that table, we had 3 or 4 meetings. Everybody at the table knew what it was all about, because we did have major youth gang problems. I mean, Tim could have mentioned so many more things, and it was terrible. And so we all knew what we were trying to accomplish. And the chief of police brought in the sheriff and so forth, the Ventura County Sheriff's Department, and really made the enforcement issues that needed to be made at the time. And the rest of this homework club was just a drop in a bucket. The rest of this that you saw on the screen in the presentation is because of the gentleman behind the podium. And you have to clone someone like Tim if you want this to be propagated throughout the country or county, et cetera. But I think he can do that. And he's talked about the website and all the other information that's available. I don't know if you've thought of maybe in the future having so many day over a weekend retreat with people from around the area or outside the area that want to replicate this. And I think when people are face to face with people like you, Tim, it's almost contagious. And I'm sorry, but
2 for 2, George, you're making me tear up here. I ain't like this.
I didn't think
It is emotional. We don't talk about all the kids that were murdered and, people, this is right under the fabric, stabbed, murdered. And I know what's hitting you right now
Yeah.
on some of those stories. So.
Well, I never thought of talking about this in public, but I think Jim is known about. I used to serve on the board of directors of Pacific Lodge Boys Home in Woodland Hills. Started out in the 20s for boys who didn't have families and so forth. And then it developed based on the society. It developed into an organization where it was the residents, it's 24-hour day residents. This is where they lived, these kids. And the service ended up to be a service for young men who were wards of the court system for the mistakes they made, some of them minor, some of them not so minor. And that was the whole purpose of Pacific Lodge Boys Home ended up where it was just a home for orphans, but based on our society, it developed into that. And I attended a reunion of board members from Pacific Lodge Boys Home and staff members and so forth about 4 or 5 years ago. And there are maybe 60 plus people there, and they all asked us to stand up and talk about how you got involved with Pacific Lodge Boys Home. And I'll tell you, it was my mom. Anyway, at this reunion, they asked me to be the last person to speak, which I did. And as soon as we concluded the meeting and so forth, and I'll be honest, a very large black young man, everybody's young to me, came up to me. He says, "I want my picture taken with you, George. I never met him or seen him in my life." I said, "Of course." And he told his history that he was with some fellow teenagers and they did an armed robbery and so forth. Nobody was majorly injured, but he was in the car. And so when the police arrested those who actually committed the robbery, he was included, and he ended up, there must have been an injury. You know more about it than I. He ended up on death row. And then they downgraded it to a lifer, and he was just sitting in the car. And I forget which governor, Brown, I think it was. His sentence, what's the right word?
Commuted.
Yes. Yeah. Commuted his sentence. And so now he goes around talking at schools and so forth, about don't be tempted to join gangs. Don't fall for all these stories about you'll be much better having a gang as your family and so forth. But anyway, I'm going to stop and just thank Tim, bottom of my heart.
Thank you, George.
God bless you.
So Tim, don't leave yet. Come on, man. Gee, you're not gonna get away that easy. what George and a small group of folks started some years ago, you just made it so spectacular. But as you pointed out, you've just been sort of the cheerleader.
I am. That
So
really.
One of the board members mentioned cloning you for other areas. Well, we need to clone you for here so that, you know, in 40 or 50 years, when you're finally no longer with us, that someone's ready to take over. But what you've done, and every year there's something new going on. Just I think in the past year, maybe 2 years, you added the swing program, which, as you said,
It's
these
just
kids
taken off.
never have a chance, or if they do get into a pool, they don't have a clue what to do. Horseback riding, which I think this was the first year.
I
you
forgot
folks
about
did
that one. There was no room on the slide.
Yeah. Every year you have something new, something different, but every year you also have a lot of the same really exciting programs. The food distribution program that you do over at the Caneo Creek condominiums, to see the crowds of people there every single Saturday. More importantly, see the crowds of volunteers that you have out there every single Saturday.
It's about 67 volunteers to make it happen. That's right to your point. They're from 20 organizations in the Caneo Valley.
Yeah, and how our entire community pitches in. The first time that I went to one of your Christmas present distributions, that year it was just one site. I think this year you did what, 5 sites?
4,
Four sites?
can't
I
exaggerate.
mean, the amount of presents that are donated by the community for these kids. I think it was the first year I went, that entire room over at Caneo Community Center was absolutely packed to the gills. And I kept thinking, how many presents should each child get? And I think my favorite was little boy, I don't know if you picked his name out of a hat or whatever, but he got a brand new bicycle straight from the bicycle shop. And he refused to take it because he said, no, I can't have that. And, give me something little. But all of these activities that you and the community have been involved in is just so absolutely spectacular. So you said you came to thank us. Well, that's nice, but we have to thank you for everything that you've done for our community for years and
Jeff.
years.
Thank you. I keep seeing, where did Dee just go? She's in here. So I have to tell, hopefully I don't get her in trouble, but I have to give a big shout out to Dee and Melissa. And so a couple of years ago, I came up with a wacky idea to take a bunch of the kids to Montana and go canoeing for 500 miles following Lewis and Clark's trail. The only problem was none of them knew how to swim, and Dee let us come into the pool every day. We taught them all how to swim, and I'm grateful for that.
Mm.
Thank you. No more. I'm done.
Thank you, Tim. Rochelle, you get to top that.
I'm going to try not to cry. No, I do want to add that Tim is an amazing man that makes things happen. He's not just a talker, he's a doer. And because he has the passion to make things happen in our community, we are lucky to be able to be one small part of that and to be able to participate in making a difference in many, many kids. And like you said, it started very young, it goes up. Now we even do stuff with high schoolers. And we have people working for us. So many of the Safe Passage kids end up working for us and being role models for other community members' kids. So thank you, Tim. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start talking about part-time service award nominations. So we have 9 folks within our community that are part-time staff that have been nominated and have won their nomination, that have been recognized by their staff members on the great work that they do in our community and at their sites. They have to be part-time. They have to be currently working for us when they received the nomination. We have one that doesn't work for us anymore, but that's okay. He went on to do great things. So we'll forgive them. So anyhow, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna call someone up. They are gonna stand at the podium. I'm gonna read a little bit about them and they can introduce their family or anybody that's here with them if they would like to and say a few words. Then they're gonna sit back down and we'll go on to the next one and then we'll wait until they're all done. And then you guys will be able to say your words after that, if that's okay. Okay, so the first person I'd like to welcome to the podium is Janice.
Thank you, David.
She's not shy. She's very good with our kids. Anyhow, okay, so Janice started with us in December of 2021. And during the last year, Janice has made an impact on the aquatics unit by developing strong, positive relationships with the swimmers and their families. She has become the go-to instructor for swimmers with additional needs or first-time swimmers who have a fear of the water. She has also been a critical part of the creation and implementation of cue cards, cards that help the nonverbal swimmers. She is someone that the aquatic staff look up to and always provides help and support during staff trainings. Janice is an avid Girl Scout volunteer. She volunteers about 10 hours a month to girls who do not have a troop. She also belongs to the volunteer group From the Heart, where they send out holiday and birthday cards to seniors who do not have a family or are by themselves. Janice's work has exceeded our expectations and has meaningfully contributed to the CRPD Aquatics program. We want everyone to know we are super proud of what she does, and her contributions are very valued. Thank you very much. Do you have any special people with you here? Or- I know Dee came
At my cheering section.
in
Well,
your
it's
cheering
my
section.
Turns.
Yay.
There's mom. There's my
Mom's here
mom,
too.
who I get my volunteering spirit from. She actually is at the senior center, does the volunteer making bears. So, you know, CRPD is in the blood. But of course, my great help that made me what I, could only, when you come up to your boss and you ask, I have nothing to do. Do you got something for me? And they're willing to hand me something, you know you belong there. So of course, Dee, we love Dee. Jen, Donovan, who just, makes me look good in the pool because he makes the pool look good. And Xavier that's hiding over there. So, but yes, thank you. Thank you for having me at CRPD and once I got in the pool, I kind of found my little home there. So glad to be there. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Aaron, would you skate on up to the podium? All right, so Aaron works at Borchard Community Center and he's our skate park specialist. He was promoted to the recreation specialist skate park position in August of 2021. In that time, he has materialized into a key player in the staff at Borchard Center. Aaron's attitude, easygoing personality, and relationships that he has formed with his coworkers, the kids, parents in his classes, and the community as a whole is commendable. Aaron has held skate programs at 5 different locations with numerous changes in staff. COVID protocols, his program enrollment remained high. He has also implemented a new fingerboard skate class. I probably wouldn't hurt myself in that one. And that has been popular among the kids. Aaron has been working on ways to fundraise to help with the expansion of the skate park through marketing and selling of Borchard Skate Park apparel. If you go into Borchard, it's all on the wall, some really cool shirts and skateboards and all sorts of goodies. He's also been extremely flexible with working at Borchard and has been asked to teach classes outside of skate, help out with after-school programs, and gain a better understanding of the office duties and the assignments. In summer of 2022, Aaron aided with overseeing the teen volunteer program of over 30 volunteers. And he also helped with the Haunted Trails event. He oversaw the Borchard section and put together a fun and interactive theme section of Sonic the Hedgehog that the families had the opportunity to experience. Aaron ensures that safety is always important. He's got to make sure the kids are wearing their helmets, their elbow pads, their knee pads. But I know when I used the skateboard, he made sure I did. And always important and on point at Borchard. He checks the emergency equipment and goes over a topic of safety with staff at our staff meetings. We are all eager to see Aaron's growth moving forward at Borchard and with CRPD. Thank you for everything that you do.
Thank you for the kind words. I really appreciate that. I'm super grateful to be here in this room with all you very important people. So yeah, I mean, I guess I'll say I used to take the classes when I went to Borchard as a kid, including the skate ones, which are the ones I teach now. So it's cool to be able to come full circle. Yeah. Shout out to Borchard.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right, Jillian. And she is from our Caneo Community Center. Right, Jillian started as a camp counselor with the Caneo Community Center and Outdoor Unit in 2021 at Wildwood Day Camp. She was known as Poppy at camp. They all have names. And although she was not in a lead position, Jillian was seen as a leader at camp by her peers and supervisors. Many of the parents commented on her positivity and kindness at camp and appreciated her communication and her willingness to go above and beyond for her campers. In 2022, Jillian returned to the Conejo camp as a senior camp counselor. And as the senior camp counselor, she fulfilled this role above her supervisor's expectations. She assisted in planning for 10 weeks of summer camp crafts of all 5 camps, provided insight during the all-day training at Wildwood Regional Park. And during the last 2 weeks of summer, she acted as camp director at her campsite and assisted with the concerts in the park events. Jillian requested to stay year-round once summer camps ended because for her field of study is environmental science at CLU, which perfectly aligned with the outdoor unit. Jillian currently works with after-school enrichment programs, safe passage, special events, and so much more. Jillian has played a key leadership role in special events such as the Rotary Fair, Plantapalooza, Haunted Trail, and Jingle Bell Hike. We would like to recognize Jillian for her tremendous work ethic, positivity, creativity, and leadership at the Caneo Community Center and the Outdoor Unit. And she does a great job working with me for Halloween at the mall too. But thank you very much for everything that you've done, and we've enjoyed seeing you grow in the program.
I want to thank my direct superiors that are here, Juliet, Kellen, Brian, Serene, who's not able to be here, and the board for giving me this opportunity and this nomination. And I'm just really glad and thankful that I have a job that I really love and I feel like I have an impact. So thank you.
Lauren, you got to come out from behind the TV. So Lauren has been a fixture in the cultural unit as a participant since she was in elementary school. After transitioning smoothly from a participant to staff as a facility attendant, Lauren was promoted this year to recreation leader. Lauren has embraced her new position with gusto, claiming responsibility for tasks and projects she enjoys and taking fierce pride in training new staff members. She is always bubbly with ideas and new projects and improvements. An academic at heart, Lauren is always hungry for more knowledge and wants to learn what everyone else on staff is doing. She has quickly gained competency on much of her technical theater equipment and is eager to learn more and take on more responsibilities. She has shown that facilitating growth in others, especially children, is the thing that lights her up most. She can always be found at the helm of YAE cast and Hillcrest Center for the Arts staff bonding activities and bursting with new ideas for moments that would allow those in the show to shine. Lauren takes people under her wing and into her heart and becomes their advocate when she feels they need their voice amplified. Lauren has been a fierce defender of safety and health procedures, and especially as we have navigated the ever-changing world of COVID protocols. We are so very lucky to have Lauren on our staff. And I have to say that the CFT program that I saw was phenomenal, and she had a hand in that. So thank you for all that you've done.
I just want to say a big thank you to Brianne and Megan, who are both here for me. And then, of course, all the other folks who I've seen so many of you around. So I feel like I brought all of you too. And you probably catch me in the office all the time stealing stuff from the copy room. So I think I'm so appreciative to work for CRPD, and I hope you'll all come to see a show down at the theater soon. The kids are opening Camp Courage in a few weeks, and then we're doing Into the Woods in May. So come see them. They're all amazing. Thank you so much.
Chris, you're up. All right, so Chris was promoted to Recreation Specialist in Sports after many years at the Caneo Community Center. He immediately took on duties that were not in his wheelhouse at the Caneo Center. He was quickly immersed into fall programs that were just returning to kind of normal as COVID restrictions began to lift. Chris did not miss a beat. Chris dove in, permitting all fields and facility locations, heading up 15 different camp directors who would throughout the summer be offering a variety of 45 different sports camps. He also had additional tennis camp directors and another potential 44 tennis camps. Chris has a great working relationship with all of the independent contractors as well as district-wide staff. Chris may need to wear many hats at any given day. He is always helpful and positive on the phone with the public and contractors. He is a problem solver, even reaching out to the grounds and maintenance to get things done when the need arises. Chris is also a very integral part of our pickleball tournament series. He has mastered the registration, match scheduling, and scoring program written by one of the community partners, Ventura County Pickleball Club. His knowledge of this program and passion for the game is a bonus for both CRPD and Ventura County Pickleball Club. The sports unit had a very successful 21-22 fiscal year, thanks in part to Chris's attention to all the large and small details of classes, programs, and camps. Chris, you've done a great job. So we'd like you to go and work now for Thermo Fisher Scientific at MGIM. So Chris got a full-time job and has left us for the time being, but he promised me that when the time is right, he will come back. So we're super proud of you though. And thank you very much for everything you did for the whole district.
They need to make these for tall people. But yeah, I just wanted to say I've been with the district for a long time. I mean, I've done preschool programs here. I volunteered for 4 years, worked here for 8 years. And it is just such an honor to be recognized by everyone here and by the community. The work that I've done has been so integral to myself. And it also touches me to see the lives that I've touched, the programs that I've created for youth, the sports programs that I've created for everyone, some of which are still being enjoyed today. So it's wonderful to still see that. And even though at this time I have made a career transition to my field of study, biology, I still plan to help out this community, enrich in development. I plan to volunteer whenever possible. I'm still active with VCPC, so you'll still see me around, still see me active in the community. I just wanted to give a few special thanks tonight. Thanks to Dana Miller, Andy Morales, and all of Sports Unit for this nomination and for supporting me. They've been absolutely amazing for the time that I've worked with them. I also wanted to give a special thank you to the Recreation Division managers, all of them have been just excellent, some of the best people that I've ever worked with, and have helped me really grow professionally, like way beyond what I ever expected. So huge thank you to them. And I also wanted to thank my parents and my partner for coming out tonight to support me. Final thank you to just everyone here in attendance, everyone supporting Conejo Recreation and Park District. What we do is so integral to this community, and I'm just so proud to be a part of it. And I know that all of you are too. So thank you.
All right, Christian, you're up next. Yep. All right, so Christian began his employment with the Teen Center in December of 2021. His sister Emma was a recreation aide for the Teen Center during her high school years and enjoyed it so much that she talked him into doing it. Christian was also a junior in high school, and this was his first job. Within a couple of months, Christian immediately became the go-to staff for input, assistance with projects, and center upkeep. 4 months after he was hired, this teen center closed for renovations. But Christian really wanted to work. He immediately put his name in the hat to work a youth outreach week-long camp. When that ended, he began getting hours at other community centers within the district. He worked at the Thousand Oaks Community Center, where he worked closing shifts and special events. He also supported and assisted in the youth outreach cooking classes, did computer work, and helped with homeschool billing tasks. Christian also became the go-to aide for the therapeutic recreation unit, for barbecuing at a special event, to working to the day program at Crawley, and eventually the bowling and exercise program on Saturday. Christian again shined bright in all his tasks. Now that the Teen Center is back open, Christian has been a go-to staff. He was very helpful with the moving back into the Teen Center with equipment, maintenance, and general organization. Christian is always hustling and looking forward to doing whatever is next. He's a true asset to the district and has grown as an employee at the Teen Center. He is our youngest employee at the Teen Center, but one of our most counted on. He is very well respected by his peers and his supervisor, and we appreciate the work that you've done for us. And I also hear that he's so good that the therapeutics unit is taking him on. Do you guys know that? So thank you. We appreciate it.
I want to thank Sarah and Jay. It's been a pleasure working at the Teen Center. I loved it. And I want to thank Thousand Oaks Community Center when I worked there. That was amazing. And Old Meadows too. And I just want to say thank you. It's been a pleasure working for CRPD, and I am grateful for working here. And I can't wait for the more years to work here. Thank you.
All right, Molly, you can step up to the podium. All right, so Molly has been with the Therapeutic Recreation Unit as a recreation leader since November 2019. In September of 2022, Molly transitioned into the role of senior recreation leader and immediately jumped into programming, leadership, implementing creative ideas, and bringing on the swag. I'm not sure what they mean by that, but when working with the teens, when the TR unit was only able to offer virtual school camps during COVID, it was Molly's crew that brought life to Crawley's house every day. Families and patrons were immediately drawn to Molly's fun and welcoming personality. In 2021, Molly graduated from CLU and took a year to travel all 50 states. During this time, she created a new virtual programming as she traveled to the new state each week. Some of her programs she developed were called Travel with Molly and Virtual Games with Friends. The morning she flew home from Hawaii as part of her 50-state tour, she drove straight to the Crawley House to take on the role of camp director for the Independent Living Skills Peer Mentor Summer Camp. Molly continues to take brand new programs and crushes each one of them. She also co-leads the Crawley House after-school program using teamwork and strong communication skills to plan and implement the program. Molly continues to bring her vibrant energy, creative ideas, and warmth to all her programs, and it is greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah, so I started CRPD through therapeutics in 2019, like Rochelle was saying. And it's really just been, I mean, the best 3 years of my life. So, thanks.
So we actually have two other people that were nominated, but they unfortunately couldn't be here tonight. So I'm going to read very short a little bit, just so you guys kind of know what they did, but they are not here. And then we'll do questions and then a picture when you guys are all done too. So Pat Davis is a preschool teacher at our Dos Vientos school, and Miss Pat has taught preschool for over 28 years for CRPD. She was a teacher in Wyoming and then relocated to California in 1994. And she's been at the Dos Vientos Center since 2002. Pat was instrumental during and after the pandemic. She stayed connected to parents through social media, returned to offer an outside classroom experience, and ensured parents of a clean classroom environment. Due to her program quality, she has multiple registrations from siblings of one family, extended families, and now children of the past. It is one of the few programs that is now generational. So Pat has always had a great attitude, and she makes each of her students feel like a shining star. She's really an amazing person, has been with us for a very, very long time, and has impacted many, many children, and many children have their children going there now. So it's pretty amazing. So if you ever stop by and see her, she's a fantastic woman. The other person that is unfortunately not able to be with us is Janet. Many of you may know Janet from CSVP. She began her 11th year this year. Some days you'll find her in the kitchen as a chef, at the Global Center doing breakfast or the nutritional lunch programs. She is like the jack of all trades. Actually, they call her the Jill of all trades, but she can just do everything. She always is looking out for seniors, trying to go the extra step to make them smile. She has planned for many years the volunteer appreciation event. She schedules the boutique staff and the Global Cafe volunteers. She works with the volunteer groups such as Busy Bee, Teddy Bear Crafters, and Nifty Ladies. She is, like I said, been with them for 11 years. You can see her in the building, always with a smile on her face, always willing to help others. So if you see her at the Global Center, make sure you tell her congratulations also. So with that, I conclude with my part of the presentation.
Thank you, Rochelle. And we'll open up for board members. Director Lang, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Boy, there's so much talent there in the audience, so much great camaraderie, so much love, wanting to help your community. We heard what Mr. Hagel has done in the community, but you're doing the same thing at a different level and in different areas, and be proud of what you're doing. And as some of you already have, tell your friends what benefits that you personally get out of being involved with these programs that CRPD has and our community has. You have a lot going for you, and I know some of you continue to move on in your careers and do many things based on your skills and talents. So I just would encourage you to continue, and if it's in the cards, continue your education also. Altogether, everything is important, and you're going to be shining stars, and you can be proud of yourselves of what you accomplished. So congratulations to all of you, and the fact that your peers nominated you communicates to you that you are special. And so keep at it. Everything you're doing is great. We appreciate it. God bless.
Director Bus.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you so much. You could see when each one of you were up there, how much passion and pride you have for everything that you do. And I think that is just an amazing attribute. And that's why you were nominated for these awards. And I really appreciate you and everything that you do for our community. Thank you.
Director Cusworth.
Yes, I was very impressed. I took a few notes. I wanted to thank Chris for saying, when I help others, you help yourself. And I think that's what you're all doing. And I think that's kind of a key to success. That was wonderful. And I wanted to thank Lauren. I have a passion for the Young Artists Ensemble, and being a techie, you'll always have a job. It's a good thing to be in. And also Chris, thank you for promoting pickleball. I hope to play it someday. All right. Play with me, you'll win. Most likely. And Janice, wow. You help the Girl Scouts, you help seniors, you teach swimming. Wow, you're just helping all ages. You're just out there everywhere. Thank you. And I'd like to just thank your mother. My grandson sleeps with one of those bears. Every time he comes to my house, he says it's his bear. He loves it. It has a very prominent place in our house. So thank you. It's a very cute bear. And Molly, you are very innovative. That's what it takes nowadays, to be innovative. Wow, all 50 states, everything you've done, that's so amazing. And and Jillian, wow, started in day camp and really, made something of yourself and kept going. And I may not be here, but in 30 years, you may be getting another award here for all the things that you've done. Maybe you'll take over Rochelle's job there. It sounds like you're really going for it there. And, I hope you do well in environmental science. That's what we need in this world. And Christian, wow, go to. You know what a go-to is? It's reliable. It's the kind of person you want as your employee, because you can go to them and the job will get done. Thank you. And then, wow, Aaron, whoa, you were over 30 volunteers. I thought you'd just be another kid at the state park. So you've really done an amazing job. Thank you. And now we're going to have a bigger skate park. So there's going to be a lot more for you to do. So thank you so much, all of you. And we really appreciate you. As always, we always wonder what our full-time employees are doing when we see how much our part-time ones are doing. I mean, you seem to be the foundation of this whole organization. I'm glad we're all laughing. It was meant to be in jest. It was meant to be in jest. All righty. Thank you very much.
Director Nichols, you have to follow that.
Maybe I shouldn't. Thank you all, and the support team behind you. I mean, it's just great to see everybody here to support one another, whether it's staff, family, friends, combination thereof. It never ceases to amaze me as I hear the stories, whether you started here as a youth and you just never left the park and you've been living there and camping there for the last 18 years and now you're working here, or you have started somewhere in between and then you just keep coming back. And we hear this time and time again from our staff, which is really a testament to the organization. And that's you folks out there. It's not us up here. You folks make the organization and you make it a fun place to be at. Starts at the top with our general manager and goes to everybody out there. So thank you for that. I mean, I also hear whether it's my daughter, my grandkids, friends and families that participate in programs, always complimentary about the staff, that you're the face of the programs. We see, time and time again, you're out there interacting with the youngsters all the way up to the high school and beyond. So thank you for being that good representation. Even with some of the things that Chief Hagel was complimenting, and I know all of you are part of that too, with all the many efforts, whether it be at the swimming pool or at the community centers, on the field trips. I mean, some of the things we've heard where it's like, yeah, you might have a job. For example, I was looking at this, hearing this story about Janice. I go, well, wait a minute, she's a lifeguard. what is she doing all these other things for if she's a lifeguard? You know, but so many times is I've heard that, you know, or even, you know, Aaron coming up with the sonic display. I remember that the grandkids loved it when we walked down that hike. You know, to see your creativity and your passion just being expressed in many different ways, you know, that you don't feel like, oh, I'm just this, that's all I can do, but you keep going. Appreciate that. Again, that was very much demonstrated during the lockdown period where you folks had to be creative beyond what your creativity ever was before. And it's shown and it continues to shine. So thank you all so much for your dedication, for making the Park District what it is. And for all of those of you continuing to support them, whether they're working and only working, going to school, working to get to school, whatever that happens to be. Thank you for all your contributions. And again, you are what makes the Park District what it is. And we certainly appreciate all that you do. So thank you.
Well, I'd like to add my thanks to each of you for what you have done, and for most of you, what you'll continue to be doing for the district. To think that all of you just work for the district part-time is sort of hard to believe, because whether we're going to Borchard or the pool or the theater or wherever we might be, any of these centers, seems to me we see you folks all the time, and what you're accomplishing as part-timers is pretty incredible. As Director Nichols already said, it's you folks, those of you being recognized tonight, but all of you who also work for the Park District and are supporting your friends here. It's you folks that are the face of the Park District. It's you folks that make us look good, even though we just sit here and let you folks do all the work. Certainly not gonna say anything about the full-time folks, but what you do as part-timers in aquatics and in therapeutics and in the various sports centers, in theater, is really appreciated by us, but more importantly, appreciated by the entire community. So thank you very much. We appreciate it. Okay, we're going to resume our meeting. And item 4 on our agenda is items from the public. We do have a speaker card for Carol Neerman. Is Carol still here?
Yeah. You might tell her that you have like a timer.
Okay, and just very briefly, Carol, and I want to make an announcement for if there's anybody who is watching us and wishes to make public comments after you've made your public comments, please, if you're on Zoom, just raise your hand on Zoom and we will call on you after Carol has a chance. You've already made it to the podium. We appreciate it very much. We do have a clock here, Carol, for all of our speakers. So if you could please keep yourself to the allotted time, we are ready for you to begin.
Okay, I'm here tonight again to address the issue of Caneo Senior Volunteer Program at the Global Center and the bullying and mobbing that I experienced there. And I do want to address a little bit about what happened last time I was here on the repetition. When I first came here back in the fall, we really tried to cram 10 years of stuff into 3 minutes. And I realized I don't have any credibility. You guys don't know me. I mean, it was just really fast. And what I did ask from you at the time was to make sure that there wasn't any retaliation for me attending the meeting. And that didn't happen. Things weren't worse, much worse after I attended that first meeting. So I decided that I would come back and give you more information. The rules for this, I guess, are simple and finite. If you want somebody to keep taking hits for the team, you can't kick them off the team. And I just feel that the community really needs to know about what's going on. And I know that I'm not the most dynamic speaker, and especially after tonight, I mean, there's a lot of rah-rah, which is great, and people want funding. And, I'm not here to, I'm here to tell you that everything's not all rah-rah. So I understand that I'm not your favorite speaker, but I still feel like I have an obligation to the community to make sure that the programs that we fund and reward are worthy of it. So to recap, when I was leader of the Busy Bees group, I had to deal with the fact that we had people who were stealing yarn, and there was a lot of retaliation to that action. And this continued for like probably like 9 years. And at the time, I didn't know what it was called, what was happening, but there's this another term for that abuse survivors, I guess, had followed. It's called DARVO, and it's deny, attack, reverse the victim and the offender. So what happened is when I brought this stuff up, the people who were involved in this denied, well, I don't even know if they denied it. They just kind of ran out, but they just continued to behave the way they did, but they retaliated against me. And they said that I did those things. And I didn't realize I was an organization consultant in industry, and I never saw this kind of behavior, but it's actually something I'd seen in other nonprofits since I've been out of the, paid workforce. So that continued, where I say, deal with the yarn. I was told I was stealing yarn. Somebody screams at me, says I'm a bitch. They go back and say, I called the whole room a bitch. And it's just like, it's just lies. It's just like, can't even really make up like new lies. So, and this is the time also Janet Adair became really difficult. Before this, she was super friendly. But then she was just like kind of working for Ann, and Ann was working for Pam, who were just spreading a lot of lies about me. So I realized my time's up now, and we'll talk a little bit more about that whole issue with Janet next time I'm here.
Thank you, Carol. Do we have any speakers online? Okay, thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. I will entertain a motion to that effect. Director Lang.
Yes, I so move that we approve the agenda as presented.
Thank you.
I'll second that move.
Thank you. We have a motion, a second. Any questions or comments? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much. Item 6, consent calendar, approval of minutes and approval of warrants. I will entertain a motion.
I motion.
Director
motion to
Buss, thank
approve.
you.
I'll second that.
Minutes.
And a second.
warrants.
Any questions or comments on either approval of minutes or approval of warrants? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much. Item 7 on the agenda, deferred matters. I don't believe we have any. Item 8, items for discussion. I believe we have nothing there as well. 9 new items. 9A, agreement with Thousand Oaks Titans Cricket Club. Are we going to start directly with?
I think we go right to Mr. Mooney. All right. Thank you, Chair Huffer, members of the board. Mr. Friedel. So as our community grows and changes, so do our parks, as well as the programming activities that happen in our parks, right? And so staff has worked throughout time with the community, with diverse group of community groups, some traditional, such as soccer groups like sports, softball, baseball, as well as some untraditional, as you guys are familiar with Sappy Trails Community Park, right? We have disc golf groups. We have the motorized glider group, as well as the bike group there. And so the agreement tonight with TO Titans Cricket Club directly shows the evolving programming and activities that we have within our park facilities and within the district. So the group formed back in 2017. They're a member of Southern California Cricket Association that was actually established in 1935. And it ranges from San Diego all the way up the coast to north of Santa Barbara, and then inland to Riverside and some other areas of Southern California. The club itself locally has been permitting fields with CRPD since 2021 at Pepper Tree Playfield. And so currently the district has 9 sports groups at Pepper Tree that include multiple groups of soccer, lacrosse, cross country, and flag football. So there's quite a bit of use that's happening at Pepper Tree. The cricket field time will be coordinated with these other community groups as it has been the past few years, as well as the cricket season is traditionally April to July, typically Saturdays and Sundays, what they've been using the facility as. And so staff would be working with them over future possibilities for possible other times with practice, games, and tournaments and such. As well as to kind of give you a little bit of background on the cricket club participants. The age ranges from 15 years old all the way to 60 years old. So it's quite a bit of a broad demographic when you look at age. So as far as serving multiple generations and different folks from young to older ages. And then part of working with the group is finding an area within Pepper Tree existing. They temporarily have been using in between field 6 and 7, as well as AYSO has actually laid out the fields to kind of a 6-portion field. So one field turned into 3 because it's for smaller soccer ages and groups. And so it's actually worked out really well where it's not so much on the sidelines, it's at like behind the goal. And so it's going to be in a similar location when we are looking for the permanent improvement of the synthetic pitch. And the goal really was to assess the use that's been happening there with cricket currently, but then also for the existing uses of the other user groups. And so really the main points of the agreement with TO Titans will be for them to install and maintain a 10x80 synthetic turf cricket pitch, as well as they'll coordinate the project with park staff and sports staff to make sure we don't have any conflicts with the permanent pitch that's installed, as well as doing maintenance. So it's a very similar process as what we've implemented over the years with our community grant, with our established community groups, such as AYSO, Little League, Newbury Park Little League, Canal Valley Little League, and all the other user groups that we've worked with over the years. So the district will coordinate that with them, as well as taking a look at other opportunities for different events, fundraisers, and such like that as it works with all the other groups that are currently at Pepper Tree as well. So the agreement that's being proposed and recommended tonight is a 1-year agreement. So this is typical approach that we've done most recently with our groups at Sapwe Trails, since that was a completely new facility. Some completely new user groups for us and the community. And so it's really just this 1-year kind of trial run, make sure that it's working out for both parties. And then we would be taking the agreement back within the next year and assessing the need, whether it's a 1-year extension, a 3-year extension, or a 5. But currently the agreement is recommended as a 1-year agreement with TO Titans. So the district's pretty excited to be able to offer another community use at our facilities. Like I said, as parks evolved, community evolves, other opportunities and uses happen at the parks. So this is just another great example of that happening within the community. And so we're really looking forward to continued success working with our soon-to-be partner, TO Titans. I'm available for questions more on the park side. Dana Miller, our sports and reservation supervisor, is here from the sports and reservation side, as well as we have TO Titans cricket members, as well as the president Yatin is here for any more technical cricket questions, as I am not a cricket player and I do not know that much about cricket. So thank you. And that's my report.
Thank you very much. Would you like to make any comments first about what you are envisioning for the facility at Pepper Tree? And then I'm going to open it up for questions for both staff and possibly for you. So if you could just step up to the podium. Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you for having us here, Andrew, Jim, Nelly. We have been coordinating with all of you. Tom here used to be our initial point of contact along with Dana. And we have coordinated with CRPD over the last 3 years when we have been using the Pepper Tree play fields. It was more or less a temporary setup where we used to kind of lay artificial wicket to play the sport of cricket. And we have been trying to get this improvement installed for some time now. The primary reason has been that LA County has more than 7 permanent cricket fields, whereas though Ventura County has more than 1,000 families playing cricket, with kids ranging from close to 7 years to adults going up to 60 years. It's a very wide play group. and more than 15 to 20 regular teams playing with SCCA. Most of us had to travel long distances, even the kids, to even get proper games, whether it was to San Bernardino, to El Monte, Buena Park. So we are really, really thankful to Jim. Jim and Nelly visited us when we played the games. Jim actually participated in viewing the game and at one of the Woodley cricket fields. Dana, Tom here has been at several games when we had practice matches organized specifically for CRPD. And over the last couple of months, we have been coordinating with Andrew to lay this permanent improvement. So cricket, it's kind of originator or ancestor of baseball, as you may see. The improvement we are asking for is just a 80 by 10 kind of permanent AstroTurf laid between the field 6 and 7. And by getting this done, I'm sure that we will be able to encourage a lot of kids, a lot of programs who currently travel outside Ventura County to play the sport of cricket and probably have more of the awards that we just saw, right? Going forward, if we can get this program initiated. And really looking forward to partner with the city as well as with CRPD to grow the sport of cricket within the county and make it like a long-term association. Happy to be here. Happy to take any questions.
Great. Thank you very much. Director Nichols.
Yeah, while he's up here, I do have a few questions about cricket
Please.
that I don't think Andrew, but he may, I don't know. I'll leave it up there. But while you're here, I've never played cricket. I've never watched a live game, but I have watched it on TV. So, that's my total experience. I was raised playing baseball, and I can say a couple of things that are the same, but a lot of it's very different.
Yes.
How you can score 168 runs, I have no idea. But anyhow, with that said, if you had your preference and you could make the perfect ideal cricket playing surface, what would that be?
So the ideal surface, so we have dedicated grounds called the Woodley Cricket Fields. It's at the intersection of the 405 and the 101. So the ideal surface is a turf surface. It's kind of a mixture of clay hardened with a little bit of grass on top of it, but that requires a lot of maintenance. You have to water it, you have to roll it, you have to trim the grass. So that is a pretty expensive affair. So LA County currently works with Southern California Cricket Association because they have been in place for more than 90 years in Southern California. And I think their expenditure per year is in the range of $40,000 just for maintaining those cricket fields. Thousand Oaks Titans and the clubs that we anticipate using this field, we are pretty new playing the cricket here. Probably in the last 20, 30 years, there has been more participation. So we are looking at this as a temporary improvement for now. The warranty for this kind of installation is about 10 years as we go. But yeah, if the sport grows and if we say more participation, we probably would like to extend it to other fields or see how we can make it into a perfect cricket wicket or a perfect cricket ground.
Okay.
As it is in the future.
And this strip, is this, this is from what I watched, just for the pitcher and the batsman?
Yes.
That's their area.
Yes.
Where is the wicket? Is it on this or is it in the turf?
It's on the turf. It's between the field 6 and 7.
Well, I meant where the, isn't that what you call the little sticks in the back, the wicket?
Yeah, stumps. Those are on the wicket. Those will be at a distance of like 60 feet.
So that'll be within this turf area?
Yes.
Okay, all right. I think that helps. I don't think I had any other questions that were specific to cricket surface.
So the rectangle, the 80 by 10 foot rectangle is the wicket.
Yes.
That's the improvement. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's it. The rest questions are for staff. But
Okay. Do we have any other questions of our president here? Yes, Director Buss.
I was just curious, what is the season typically that you play cricket, or is it year round?
So the season, the Southern California season starts in April and it goes on until October. And there are some grounds which currently also host winter leagues, which is more limited. There are not so many players playing winter league. especially with the rains and the weather conditions, the fields having been good. But we can also have a winter league focus on girls and kids. So we plan to do that. But the main season goes from like April to October timeframe.
Okay.
Yes.
How long is a game?
So there are two variations of games. There is a game that lasts for 8 hours.
Wait, what?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't realize this was a trick question that I just asked.
Yeah, no.
Sorry. didn't
It's
mean-
called a 1-day game. And then there is a smaller variation, which is probably like 3.5 to 4 hours. So we have
Wow.
two leagues. April to August, there is the 1-day league where we have home teams, kind of hosting the games. So we will have 6 home games for the 1-day season. And then we will have the smaller version, which is like 4 hours, which will probably run into like late October.
So that's how they're getting 100 and plus runs in over 8 hours.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Thank you so much.
Yes, Director Cussworth.
Oh, there we go. Okay, so with the facility that you'll have, I read that there's going to be, you're hoping to have tournaments.
Yes.
Will it be adequate for you to have tournaments? Will other cricket clubs think that we don't have a very good cricket area?
So with this done, I think we will solve that problem. We tried to host kids tournaments last year, but since the surface was temporary, the bounce was not consistent. So it's unlike baseball where you kind of pitch the ball directly to the hitter. Here you have to bounce the ball, and the bounce was very variable. Sometimes it tends to stay low, sometimes it used to go high. So we couldn't successfully conduct the kids tournament last year, but this year with this installation, with this improvement, I think we should be able to conduct some tournaments.
Okay, so it's mainly just having that one area. It
Yes.
doesn't matter that the rest of the area is just soccer fields with grass.
Rest of the area, soccer fields, if the grass can be cut less, this would be a perfect cricket ground.
Oh, it would.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's very good then.
Yes, it would be.
I'm very excited that we're bringing something new to the Canal Valley. And I've never seen cricket in person other than when I came and saw
Yes.
you play. And I would like to say they have a very organized, is that me? Something was vibrating, that we have a very organized cricket club. I mean, they're very set up, ready to go. People are out there playing. It's not just some fly by night sort of organization. They've really worked on this. And it is interesting to me because the only time I've watched cricket is on English TV.
Yes.
And they do set up like they're having a whole day there.
Yeah.
Like there's lunch and there's all of this food. So I didn't realize that makes sense now that that's such a big deal, the cricket days.
Yep.
So I am hoping that this will go well and that it will spread into, other kids coming out to play, maybe even in high schools and things, because it looks like a fun game.
Absolutely.
I appreciate your devotion that you're putting into this. So I guess they'll be considered a community partner now, like our other community partners. Will it be the same? We'll be adding a community partner?
Yeah, so it's in varying degree of priority on there. So obviously if there's established folks that are using it within their season, so it'd be in coordination with that, with the other community partners.
Okay. And I guess I could ask this of our chair. This doesn't conflict with soccer. Soccer is at a different time.
Well, that'll be part of the scheduling process, is they'll make sure that soccer is not scheduled at the same time that cricket is going on, because I have seen it years and years and years and years ago when my wife and I were vacationing in Barbados, and we're just driving around and stopped and watched it. Took us half an hour. We couldn't figure out what the heck was going on. There's a lot of people having fun, but no clue what they're doing. But no, the scheduling would be such that because it does take up a pretty broad area when the ball
Yes.
is actually hit. So you couldn't have anything else going on.
No, I assumed that. I just thought that soccer usually is in the fall. And they're saying that they play mainly in the spring and summer. So,
Yeah, I mean, there are various activities going on, soccer activities going on, but it would be scheduled by the appropriate.
Correct. Yeah,
Scheduling.
so between all the nuts, so there would be 10 at that site. So they would all be in coordination with each other. And the same thing for concern of longtime groups such as AOISO, and has done a lot of work in that park and has established itself in the community. is we directly spoke with them about even the improvement as well. Like, hey, does this work for you guys? Them being there, and they said yes, this is fine. So it's they're willing to work with some of the little bit of changes that happen at the park to allow some more use happening at the facility.
Doesn't collaboration and working together and cooperation really feel good that we have that here in our community? And that there's not a lot of fighting. Like I was wondering about that. No, they can't be here. So I'm really glad that AYSO is welcoming you to their fields and that there's a lot of cooperation and compromise and everything else. So thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
And
Thank you very much. Did you have a question for?
I do.
Okay.
Couple
Director Lang?
questions. First of all, where did cricket start and how long ago?
Cricket started probably in the 1600s.
Say again,
1600s.
1600.
Yes.
And what country?
And it is probably it's a British sport, and it kind of went out to all the colonies. So it's played, there are 10 permanent playing members. And wherever, so it was originated in Great Britain, then Australia, New Zealand. Most of the Asian countries played, but it's played by almost 80 countries now all over the world. And 2028 LA Olympics, they are planning to include cricket as an Olympic sport.
Great.
So in 2024, the International Cricket Council, US is hosting the ICC tournament in 2024. And games will be played in Texas, in Florida, probably some couple of practice games will be at the Woodley grounds as well in LA.
If you were to identify an area here in Southern California, what would you identify as the cricket capital of California?
So currently the cricket capital, the main grounds are at the Woodley Cricket Park, which are very close. It's like near Van Nuys or
Okay.
Balboa Park. Yeah.
Okay.
So that is the capital within Southern California, as we say it. Yeah.
Okay. Are there cricket teams starting to formulate from schools, high schools and so forth? And is there a league that say LAUSD or something has for cricket?
Yes. So Southern California Cricket Association has 54 teams all over SoCal, right from San Diego to Santa Barbara until San Bernardino Riverside. And there are youth teams. So my older son goes to UCSD. So all of the UCs currently have cricket teams. And so UC San Diego, UC Los Angeles, UC Berkeley, Caltech, all of the universities have current cricket teams. And there's a national tournament in Houston happening during the spring break. So my older boy is traveling for the national tournament that happened. And he grew up playing cricket with us here.
Very good.
Okay, I too don't know that much about cricket, although many years ago lived in England for a year and on telly, you'd see, cricket matches and so forth, but it wasn't of interest to me enough to study the game. But if I understand our general manager's comment, the wicket is the 10 by 80 foot area. That's the wicket.
Correct.
Okay. Obviously, there's boundaries of the wicket.
Yes.
And how much area do you need for a game? Because you've got other team members waiting to participate. They're standing on the sidelines, or how's that?
We book the entire 6 and 7 fields when we have games. Because
Say that again, 70?
the 6th and the 7th field at Pepper Tree.
And I may help really quick.
Yeah, would you please?
Page 40 of your packet.
Yeah.
There's a diagram of Pepper Tree Playfield, and there's the little red rectangle is the wicket that sits between the two, existing field 6 and 7, and then the kind of a red circle around it is generally the shape of the playing area.
This is what they're building, that's right here. They use the whole field, the whole 2 fields to play.
Okay.
It's a 360
Game.
game. Yeah. It's baseball without a backstop and then about 10,000 other rules.
And just to help Director Lang, it's about 90 yards. It can't be any longer than 90 yards for the ICC standard for cricket, but it's approximately the size of a football field. It's a little wider, a little shorter. So
Wow. Okay, so when they have a cricket match on Pepper Tree, they're occupying and utilizing a football field size amount of property.
correct.
Okay. That concludes my questions for now.
Okay, thank you very much
I
for
have
your
one other
explanations.
question.
Do you have questions for staff or for?
For you.
Okay, go ahead.
Is this going to be the only cricket playing field in Ventura County?
So we have actually collaborated with CVUSD before. We used to play on the Sequoia Middle School. And then we played at Moore Park. But yeah, with this kind of improvement, yeah, this will be the first one in Ventura County.
Thank you.
Thank you. Director Nichols, I believe you had some questions for staff.
Yes,
Go ahead.
thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Dana, maybe, or the coordinator is partly we have our priority field scheduling for various legacy organizations. Would this qualify as a priority type of organization that's first into this field, so that when we start to get competition and there are many cricket leagues wanting to use this cricket field, that this group would have priority? Is this kind of how that process starts?
Yes, they would have priority over fields 6 and 7. That's where the football field size would be, George. It's field 6 and 7. So there could still be other things going on fields 1 and 2. But as far as the cricket fields on 6 and 7, TO Titans would have priority of that.
And I'm sure that'll just all be merged into your scheduling process as to how that's all coordinated.
Correct, with soccer and lacrosse.
Okay, all right, thank you. And then just a question is, as cricket becomes more involved in this area, is there intention to do like programming to get part of the Park and Rec involved with actually using this facility to do summer programs or that type of activity? Is that anticipated?
Not anticipated, but encouraged. Opportunity is there. So as the need and interest from the community grows, that's something, just like pickleball, right? So
Yeah.
it's the same. Hey, as people are interested and want to do more of it, they need to get instruction and understand it and learn it and practice and all that good stuff. So
Okay.
we would embrace that.
I think it's a great opportunity.
Yeah, Director Nichols, we
Yes.
have talked for a couple of years, if we ever got something like this, that they're willing to offer clinics, both youth and adult, like Andrew said, their age and range from, we said 15, but I think it's even younger, isn't it? Yeah, so they are willing, and as soon as they're given the opportunity, they would be bringing the program a full circle.
Sure.
to
Yeah, I can
us.
see just a basic, classroom, cricket 101 orientation type of a thing, just to explain what the sport is all about. But that'd be great. Thank you. And then Andrew, you were talking about the MOU. Is this MOU the same type that we have with other organizations? Wondering how many similar organizations we have this MOU with, or this type with?
Correct. Yeah. So this is very similar. This one's a little different in the fact that it's a MOU as far as like priority to be at the facility as well as an improvement. So typically we would handle this and we encourage them in future years to apply for like our community grants.
Mhm.
And so this is kind of a combined MOU of, hey, we want to work and partner with you to be at our facility as well as an improvement. So they're taking on responsibilities of the improvement of the synthetic turf pitch.
Okay. Speaking of that, that leads to my next question, because in the packet, it's on page 3 of 5 of the MOU, or on page 37 of our packet. Item 3A refers to replacing the synthetic cricket turf improvements. I couldn't tell if that was after the end of the year, they have to replace it to go back to turf, or is that as the synthetic turf wears out, whenever that happens, that they would be responsible as an organization to replace the synthetic turf?
So it would be as needed, not on an annual basis. So it would be over the life of the improvement. They would have to maintain, replace the improvement of turf. So like Yatin was saying, there's about a 10-year lifespan on it. So
Okay.
we would look at possibly every 10 years, sooner or later, depending on the quality of it.
Okay.
So.
And would that be at the park district's discretion as to when that needed to be replaced, or would that be to the TO Titans discretion?
Ultimately, it's our discretion since it's our property and we control the property, but it would be like a lot of it later in here. It's a partnership, coordination, trying to make sure this is something new to us. And this is obviously a passion for them. So we want to help and coordinate. But ultimately, it would come down to if something was not being kept up, not being maintained, safety issue, then it would be our responsibility to correct that.
Okay,
So.
okay, that clears it up then. Then I had one final question, and this is on the MOU, page 2, under item 2, CRPD, paragraph B, refers to that the TO Titans may host annual contests, competitions, sponsored events. By annual, I think of one annual contest, as opposed to multiple annual contests. So I'm just a little confused with the wording there. Was the intent to have an annual contest or different types of contests, but maybe throughout the year? I wasn't quite sure what that meant.
It's really just an opportunity statement. So it could be multiple if the facility and the rest of the community groups allow. Again, there's priority already at that facility. So not saying one, not saying 50, but obviously we'd have to work within our means and making sure that it's proper for the community.
Okay, so it'd just be contests throughout the year, basically. Okay,
Correct.
I couldn't quite tell.
Yeah, and the goal was for it to be kind of an open-ended opportunity, right?
Okay.
How it was written.
All right, yeah, I'm sure because we get those requests all the time, just a matter of scheduling.
Yeah, and that's similar to some of our other MOUs that we have.
Sure.
So
Okay.
similar terminology.
All right, very good. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Do we have any other questions for staff? I just have a brief question, Andrew. I can't recall the last time I got over to Pepper Tree during the regular soccer season. I believe you said that the location of the turf area is behind goals.
Correct.
So although the diagram you have on 40 shows fields 6 and 7, and this is between those two, there are smaller fields that would be backing on to this.
Back to back, yeah. So if you would imagine the diagram having 3 fields on each field for 6 and 7, and you would be goal to goal, basically where the pitch would be. And so then that was something that worked better. So it's not running along the sideline for those referees and those team sideline kind of conflict, right? So.
Okay. Because I'm familiar with the layout that they have for a tournament or tournaments where 6 and 7 are full-size fields, but that's only during tournament time.
Sure.
I did wonder, even though this turf area is going to be behind the goals, I'm not particularly concerned about the cricket players doing any particular damage to the grass out there, but I'm just wondering, even though this is not on or immediately adjacent to the soccer fields, just kids running around, and this is just, I mean, there's nothing to keep them off of this turf area. What can or might be done to limit any kind of damage to this area when it's not being used for cricket?
So we'll work with the cricket club as far as some signage and things like that. Ultimately, it's a public park. Dogs do their business in a public park. Kids spit sunflower seeds, gum. It's a public park, right? So that's the tricky part of a public park. But we'll be, that's part of the agreement, is that they would be maintaining those issues, since we do not have any synthetic turf fields other than Fiore, which we have a similar agreement with Canal Valley Little League, because of their need for their challenge field there for accessibility. And so the goal would be that it's a work in progress. We'll learn kind of as we go to a point, but we'll see how it goes. And that's the point of the termed agreement. And then also just working closely with the partnership of the cricket club and our field staff.
All right, because Fiore is sort of a set area, and it's easier to keep people off that unless they're there specifically to use the baseball field. But when you have this not inexpensive turf area right in the middle of soccer and all these kids running around.
Sure.
You know, I hope that be able to maintain this for you folks. So, okay, are there any other questions of staff? If not, we have a staff recommendation that we need to take action on. Yes, Director Cusworth.
I would like to recommend that we authorize the general manager to enter into agreement with the Thousand Oaks Titans Cricket Club.
Thank you very much. We have a motion and a second. Director Lang, any further comments or questions? If not, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Welcome, gentlemen, to the CRPD sports community. Okay, and you two are welcome to stay for the balance of the meeting if you wish.
Request, when you really get going, can we be informed so we can go observe some of these other matches?
Yeah, of course.
So we are planning to have an opening day once the installation is done, just before our season and the first game starts at Pepper Tree. So we will invite, that has been the plan actually. We will invite all of the CRPD board of directors, the staff that has been helping us over the last few years, as well as the community use that is so keen to have this stuff laid in and play here, right? So we will schedule that. We'll work with Dana and Andrew to set that up, and hopefully we'll see you, all of you there.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving along, item 9B regarding the Older Americans Act grant application. Rochelle.
Thank you, Chair Huffer, members of the board. So tonight we're talking about, as Chair Huffer said, the VC AAA. We're specifically talking about the senior nutrition program annually, or in the past, annually, we have needed to approve the ability to fill out the application for the grant. And that's what we're here today for, is just to ask for your approval, as in the past that you've given. This allows staff to fill out the grant. If we get the grant this year, we are expecting to get about $111,000. We serve about 60 patrons a day with lunch. We have 76 seats in our cafe, and we serve it Monday through Friday from 11:30 to 12:30. So with that, staff is just asking that you approve us to be able to complete and fill out the grant if necessary.
Thank you very much. Do we have any questions for staff? Director Nichols.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. With the grant covering $111,000, how much does it actually cost to do this program, and what portion does the grant cover?
I believe it covers almost 100%. So it covers our part-time cafe manager and then all the food that goes into it.
Fantastic. Okay.
So
Thank you.
Any other questions? This is just for the lunches, right?
it's just for the lunches.
breakfast.
It's not the breakfast. And then we have the lunches. It's just the one staff in the building. All the other people are volunteers through CSVP that help out the chef in the kitchen. So.
Thank you very much. If there are no further questions, just to point out, this is a resolution. So I would like someone to take some or suggest action on this resolution. Director Cusworth, you look like you're just chomping at the bit.
Yes, I recommend that we approve resolution number 030223-A, authorizing submittal of the Older Americans Act grant application, and that it be read in title only and all future readings be waived.
Thank you very much, Madam Secretary. May we have the reading?
Second?
And a second first, and then, thank you. Thank you. Sorry, I was just so anxious to get to the reading that.
Directors of the Conejo Recreation and Park District authorizing the submittal of the Older Americans Act grant application to Ventura County Area Agency on Aging for project year July 1, 2023 to June 30th, 2024.
Thank you very much. So we have our motion and our second in the reading. No further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you very much. Carries unanimously. Item 9C, proposed new full-time administrative clerk sports department. Are we going directly to Ms. Callis for this as well?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Chair Huffer, members of the board. So basically what happened, and you kind of heard a little bit about it tonight, is our sports department has had some transitions. So since December, we had one retirement and then we had Chris that left also. So when things like that happen, as a department, we take the opportunity to reorganize and look at the department, see what's going well, where we're really needing help, where we're missing the boat on different things. And so talking to staff, Dana and her team and Tim, we have decided that what we would like to do in order to run the sports department most efficiently is to replace we had a part-time 35 hour a week person. And we currently have a part-time field person. What we'd like to do is take those two positions and make it a one full-time position. And then we backfill it with some additional part-time people. So we're not losing any hours. We're gaining a full-time staff. We'll have someone that's really committed to us, that will be able to have full-time benefits and everything, and really be able to support the other full-time people in the office. We already have this position that exists within our department, so we're not making a new job description. And we just think it would better serve the department. The sports department is very heavy on administrative paperwork. They are working with independent contractors. They really don't teach any classes, and they're renting fields, they're renting picnic areas, and that's kind of the main hub of their business. And they do make a decent revenue on it. So with that, what staff is asking is that we are going to not be using our two part-time positions. We would like to hire a full-time position and part-time to go underneath it. So with that, I'm available for questions.
Do we have any questions for staff? Director Cusworth.
So is one of the part-time positions because Chris left? And so that's no longer, I mean, is this two?
No, that position is not being replaced. I mean, it's being replaced in and of itself. So Chris's position left, we're hiring someone in that position. But we had another position that left, and we have a current person in a position. And what we want to do, because they were both very administrative paperwork heavy positions, we want to make them a full-time position. So instead of having a part-time and hiring another part-time, we want to make a full-time position, one good full-time position, and then have another like less part-time position.
So I guess what my question is so we've got the two part-times. One now has a full-time job. What happened to this one?
We're going to have another part-time, but instead of 35 hours, it'll be a smaller, like a 25 hour part-time. And Chris's position is still there. So they're going to gain more people, not lose people.
Well, is this person happy to have not as many hours?
Well, it would be a new person.
So this person left.
So we had a person that worked on the books. It was supposed to be 35 hours. They left, they retired. So right now I have a vacancy. And then I have a person who's working 25 hours. We're going to put that together to make a full-time position. And then we're going to have maybe we'll have the dollars to probably have another part-time position.
Okay, I'm really sorry that I'm not getting it.
You
So
can help me if I'm
let me
not.
just try to get it.
Could I suggest that you refer to the diagram location?
Is there?
Well, I think I've got it if we go one more.
Well,
This-
this way we'll all have it.
We had two part-times. One of the part-times left.
They
So
retired.
are you making this part-time person the full-time person?
Let's say yes.
Okay.
But I'm getting rid of another position and making it less of a part-time position. So I'm going to have the same amount of
Is that affecting
hours.
a person? Is there somebody who is getting demoted? I guess that's my question.
There is someone currently in a position that will probably apply for this position as a full-time person.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the person that's not full-time.
And that person might apply for the full-time. Correct. So
All right,
there's
that's
a
what it is
vacant
because somebody
position.
left. It's
Yes,
because
somebody left and it's vacant. Somebody's in this position and it's part-time 20 hours. So
All
I'm
right,
gonna-
I understand it now.
Are you sure?
I get it. I didn't get the vacant. I just had the two people working.
Yeah, no, there's a vacant
So
one
there's
right
a
now.
Vacant one.
Totally vacant since December, end of December.
All right. We can refer to that too, unless everybody now has it. I've got it. I'm satisfied.
Good.
No worries. Thank you.
Okay.
Director Nichols.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The administrative clerk job title sounds fairly generic. Just wondering how many administrative clerks do we have throughout the organization?
Good question. I believe I have two others. I think there's one at Goble and one at Hillcrest. I believe those are the two that I have.
In any other areas of the district or just those two?
I think that is
Administrative
a
or-
job description specific to my
Okay,
department.
all right.
Because it was, yeah,
Okay, and then under the discussion in the first sentence, it says that the full-time reservations coordinator was moved under the direction of the sports department. Where was it moved from?
under me. It just went from my budget to their budget.
Okay, so just a,
That happened years ago.
oh, okay.
That's nothing new. I think what we were doing is just trying to express to you that there is a lot more administrative work, clerical work that needs to be done. And so that is in and assigned to sports also now.
Okay,
That's Andy.
okay. And then lastly, I was looking to the chart also, Mr. Chair. I see on the chart in the lower left corner, a vacant administrative clerk 2 position.
Yes, that's our retired person.
That's the retired person.
Mhm.
And where is the part-time position on this chart?
Part-time positions.
That you said was
Is it on
the
there?
20 or the 28?
Oh, yeah, it's just right above it. Administrative clerk and P in parentheses.
Okay, so those are your 2 admin clerks there. And so those 2 boxes will become 1 box
Correct,
and it'll be a full-time box.
correct.
And then you're going to get a smaller box, fewer hours.
It won't go on there, but yes.
Okay. Gotcha. All right.
Yeah, and then the specialist you can see is on there and that was Chris's position and that's currently open and they're interviewing for it. It's
Okay.
just a little bit different than our other specialists. So it's someone who needs to be more office savvy than put you out in a program and teach a class with kids. So
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you,
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Chair.
Do we have any? Yes, Director Bus.
So what is the cost difference?
there is no cost difference. So it will not cost my budget anything different. I've been able to make it to where the one position takes it up and I'll still have dollars left to actually hire another like 20-hour a week part-time person also. And that includes benefits and everything.
Because the full-time position, I noticed the pay, I mean, what part-time is, you're paying $15 to $17 an hour, I assume.
Mhm.
And so you're paying, that's like $34 an hour and the full-time person is going to be 22 to 28. Okay, that makes
The person that retired was in what we called a grandfathered position. It was someone who'd been with us for over like 30, 35 years and was making a much higher rate than we would, that's in our
Oh.
current pay scale. So the dollars were there to be able to allow us to do this and cover all costs without adding any additional money to the budget.
Well, that's great then, because a full-time position would be easier to hire for, I would assume, than a part-time position because of the benefits you get.
Mhm.
Cool, sounds great.
Any other questions of staff? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Director Nichols?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'd ask that we consider the staff's recommendation to approve the new full-time administrative clerk position in the sports department.
Thank you. We have a second, Director Buss. Any further comments or questions? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Motion carries unanimously. 9D, another resolution. I'm going to have Mr. Friedel handle this.
Yes, thanks, Chair Huffer, members of the board. we are asking the board to take a position on an initiative that has just qualified for the November 2024 ballot. This is a long, slow process. And so this initiative actually started gathering signatures in early 2022. So they had like a full year of signature gathering. And I think some of the time got extended because of COVID rules, allowing signature gatherers more time to get the signatures. So the California Business Roundtable was able to get sufficient signatures as of February 1st, about a month ago, to put this on the November 2024 ballot. It's called the Taxpayer Protection and Government Accountability Act, sounding extremely cool, like who doesn't want that? But the effect of it would dramatically alter many government agencies' ability to kind of adjust revenue and needs. It changes the definition of fees and taxes. It places more things that are currently considered fees into the tax category, which then requires a 2/3 vote. Some of the law as it has evolved has allowed citizen signature gathered initiatives to be passed by a 50% instead of a 2/3 vote in some circumstances. It would eliminate that that body of case law that has evolved over time. And just generally make the definitions of fees so dramatically difficult that it would make it really, it would create a lot of extra accounting work that I personally don't find the utility in, but to prove, because they actually created a higher standard, a clear and convincing evidence standard that your fees are, I think there was 2 buzzwords, reasonable and do not exceed the
So-
actual cost of service.
So fees must be reasonable, and reasonable is redefined as actual cost.
Actual costs. And you have to minimize actual costs. So what does that even mean? Do we have to hire the cheap yoga teacher, not the expensive yoga teacher, and charge, it's rife with problems. The League of California Cities opposes it. California State Association of Counties opposes it. California Special Districts Association opposes it. And a big, what they call NASCAR letter, all these other agencies and logos oppose it. This was done, if you remember, the soda tax that popped up 8 years ago or something. There was a potential for a soda tax, like a sugary drink soda tax. And what this group of businesses did was they qualified a very similar measure for the ballot, used it to negotiate with the governor to kill the soda tax, and then they dropped their initiative. So there's the cynics out in the cynics and pragmatists out in the government world think that this is largely just a shield for big business to be able to force the legislature to not put forward unpopular legislation for big business. So they'll just say, hey, you guys kill that, we'll kill this, we'll call it good. So that's what politics has gotten down to. Pay a couple $1 million, get a signature on a really onerous bill that'll literally cripple government. And so now the business has a gun to government's head and says, hey, I'll try to get this thing passed at the ballot unless you drop whatever. And I'm being a cynic right now, but I don't know what specific legislation they're trying to not get the state to approve, but that's what the, your lobbyists and insiders that know what's going on up there kind of say this is about. So with that, my recommendation is that our board join probably over 200 other agencies already and oppose the initiative 210042A1. With that, I am available for questions.
Questions for our general manager, Director Lang?
Yes, I know, I'm assuming you've had discussion with other park district general managers in our immediate area and so forth. Are they of the same conclusion with?
I have not talked to our local guys on this particular issue. I do know, looking at the list of agencies, a bunch of other park districts are already on it, but no, I haven't actually talked to them on this particular issue.
Any other questions, Director Nichols?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I have two concerns about this. The first is, short of your description, Mr. General Manager, I have nothing to assess as far as the facts of what's being presented. This is basically like an opinion piece. Someone just kind of reviewed it and kind of giving me their perspective. And so I don't really have the facts before me in which to assess for myself. So I'm a little bit concerned because I don't feel I've had the chance to actually review it and reach the same conclusion on my own. So I'm a little hesitant to move forward without actually being able to see it and verify that for myself. The second concern I have is in reading the resolution, it reads to me like a political hit piece. I mean, I've never seen a resolution where it's attacking wealthiest corporations, developers, deceptive propositions. I mean, just the words in here. I mean, it's like I just picked a flyer out of the mailbox of somebody attacking somebody.
And I guess that was my emphasis in the report on the cynicism, because that's how bad it is. That's how bad it will affect government. And the cynical approach is you put something so onerous out there. If you qualify it and it passes, we can't conduct government as we have. Maybe that's a good thing, but government, and the associations that we work with all are, offended and appalled by what they're trying to do here. So, I'm comfortable with it. I have read a lot of the stuff. There's no urgency to this. It's not for a couple of years, the actual ballot, a year and a half. So I can, the actual language in the initiative is probably 12 pages of like, change this section of all these different codes gobbledygook. So you kind of need to read it in a synthesized version to understand it. I can send the board a link to the CSDA website that has all the materials, the ballot measure, I got the LAO's opinion right here, which the LAO's opinion, which is a nonpartisan, legislative analyst office, says the summary of fiscal effects, lower annual state and local revenues, potentially substantially lower, depending on future actions of legislator, local governing bodies, voters, and the court. So, it's hard to predict how people will behave in the future, but the legislative analyst office has those 5 pages of why it's not a great idea.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and it very well may be the case. Like I said, I just was a little concerned. I didn't have the facts in front of me, and I've never seen the Park District have a resolution that was worded this.
It's cut and paste right out of the CSTA's. They do everything for you, just like on the ledge call today. Hey, we'll write the letter. You just got to put insert your district. So
yeah, I was just a little taken aback by that. I honestly, I don't think I could support signing a resolution like this. Now, maybe if it was reworded where it achieved the same goal, but just, I don't know, I just find a lot of those terms just not appropriate for a resolution personally.
Okay, any other questions, comments, Director Lang?
More of a comment on what the general manager just shared with us. One, there's no urgency. Two, he's had the benefit or taken the initiative to get the additional information that maybe we too should have had to evaluate. And so maybe this is something we can put off for a future meeting after we've all had an ample opportunity to better understand the two sides. From our general manager's information, I obviously value that, but maybe it would be more appropriate to give us some more time to digest what is happening here. We all want government to continue to function. It's not always functioning the way we would like for it to, but at least we don't want any built-in negatives, not allowing them to make good decisions or feeling they're forced to make decisions when they really wouldn't or shouldn't. So that's just a thought, if the general manager has some more information that's appropriate for board members to read and better evaluate, maybe we can postpone this.
Yeah, if there's any discomfort, there's no urgency and there's a ton of info out there. So yeah, I can give you guys lots of info.
Director Buss?
Is this when I met with you and Melissa, Mrs. Smith, what you guys were talking about, how that then when we make reservations, it would have to be breaking down the cost of the fields and the people who maintain it and for every single thing. So they were saying that then our ability to have programs, a lot of you would basically just go to renting out the space because it would be so hard for us to calculate out the cost of every single individual who would participate in the program. Is that correct? Okay. That's what I was wondering. I was pretty much thought it was the same thing. So that's where it sounded like this is just would make our ability to provide the programs that we have, we wouldn't even do it. It wouldn't be worth our time.
Well, so what we would have to probably do to keep operating similarly to how we operate is we'd have to change our whole accounting system to be a full cost allocation accounting, and every dime that is spent in support of any fee-based programming, we'd have to build into the accounting system to support that fee. So right now, in cost accounting it's not impossible to do. We would definitely need probably a little bit more staff to do it, but
Yeah,
that's
and
like,
we do it for MRCA, so it's not
Right.
impossible. It's a lot more work.
so when Michelle wants to give the yoga teacher the class right now, all we think about is yoga teacher costs this much, and do we have space in the room? Now she would have to say, okay, yoga teacher costs this much, the space rental rate costs this much, and we'd have to build in all of the full cost accounting for everything it takes to actually provide that. The board meeting where we spent 30 seconds talking about the yoga class, everything builds into the cost of doing everything because you want to load up all the real true costs on everything you do, so that when someone says your class costs too much money, we can prove to them that no, we're not making money. All these expenses are real and they all are, so I think people all intuitively get that, certainly if you've been at the board a while, you get it, but maybe somebody who doesn't would challenge the fee and just say, I can't believe, I know what this yoga teacher gets. I can't believe you're charging this much because she's only getting paid blah, blah, blah. How dare you charge me this much? Well, because we got to pay for the lights and the electricity, the gym floor. We had to wax the gym floor. We had a board meeting to talk about the waxing the gym floor. So you just build it all into the cost allocation system. So it would force us pretty much right day one to do that. Number two, if we ever wanted to run a revenue measure, we're already looking at 2/3. We want to do 2/3, but if we can't get 2/3, but we keep polling at 60, 62, 63, where we were, a citizens group could theoretically, under the current law, say, God, you know what, that's such good stuff. I want to see that happen. I'm going to get signatures and I'm going to just run a citizens initiative and I'm going to get 50% and I'm going to pass it. That could happen right now under the way the law reads. If this passes, that option's out the door. You can't do that. So it would have to be 2/3. And that might be appealing to some people. That might be a good thing. Keep the bar super high. But that 2/3 bar is high. We'll have to talk about a revenue measure again. But I'm worried that we might have to have the 50% majority option as something that gets the future projects we want to do done. That's my speech. But yeah, I mean, literally, there isn't a hurry. So if you guys would want to get more information, we can certainly provide more.
Any other board questions or comments?
The only question I had is I was going to ask about the revenue measure. And so you answered my question there. So it would, the only difference would be is that we would not have the option of having a citizen group raise the money. We would have to get 2/3.
Yeah,
But we
yeah.
could still go for a revenue measure. We could still have a revenue measure. We would just have to get the 2/3 vote.
Yes.
Because I was wondering if it was going to limit us completely and we couldn't even.
No.
try
We
to
still
get
have
a
that
revenue measure.
available to us. There's a date on which they have to decide whether it's going to go on the ballot or not. The proponents, the California Business Roundtable now has until June 27th of 2024 to consider withdrawing it. So they have this, the way that the cynics have couched it to me, the California Business Roundtable now has a gun pointed at the legislature's head, state legislature's head. And basically they're trying to use that to tell the legislature what they want and don't want to pass through Sacramento between now and June 27 of 2024. Ideally, nothing awful is in there and they could, the legislature doesn't do anything to really piss them off. Then they would draw it from the ballot and it doesn't go. But if we decide we want to do a revenue measure, I would not recommend we did one of the same election that this is on, which is our next opportunity. So if this doesn't get pulled, because it's qualified. So if it doesn't get pulled and it goes on November of 2024, all the chatter on this will be government waste and abuse, and we got to rein in government. That's how you're going to sell it. And to try to do a revenue measure in that world would be, I think, folly. I don't think you would have any success. So that puts us off again, I would think. Anyway, it's not a small thing, this initiative.
Okay, well, I'm going to put in my 2 cents worth, and this is my opinion. I haven't done the in-depth research that Jim has done so far, but I have been following this mostly through the LA Times and some other publications. We are members of and rely significantly on groups like the California Special Districts Association, who has individuals who spend a good portion of their life in Sacramento, talking with, listening to legislators. As Jim said, the language that he used in this proposed resolution basically you said CSDA, correct? This was their language.
Actually, I will confess that I asked Aline to say, pull the resolution off the sample resolution off the website and do it. So I think it's pretty much 100% theirs, right? We just
Pretty much.
inserted our name in the title. Yeah.
Bottom line, with perhaps some modifications, this is something that an organization that represents us as one of dozens, not hundreds, of special districts throughout the state has spent significant time in researching, and this is their opinion. I personally feel that it's these people who really know what's happening in Sacramento. Yes, they have opinions, but it's a very well-informed opinion. It's not just an emotional opinion, that I could rely on what they have to say and what they recommend. That being said, I think this is important enough, even though there are scads of other organizations, small and large, throughout the estate who have already adopted resolutions similar to this, or at least some resolution opposing the initiative. I think it's important enough that I would really like to have unanimous board approval. I really don't want to have a split board on this item. So I'm going to suggest, since our general manager tells us that there is no major time push on this, that the general manager provide us with everything that he's had. You can choose how much or how little you want to investigate, keeping in mind that some of the professionals who spend their entire lives working on legislation and reading legislation have made their recommendations. I'm suggesting that we put off until 2 more weeks, no later than the first meeting in March to come back. First meeting in April to come back and take final action on this recommended resolution. Is there, I don't believe we need a motion to that effect. I need.
I concur.
Okay. Yeah.
I think so. Thank you.
I think that's fine. I was thinking though that we don't want to put it off too long. So
No.
we're saying 1 month, because I guess the whole point of us opposing this is so that they can see that there's a, general consensus among government agencies that we don't want this to go on. So so that it could be pulled potentially.
Right, but I feel it's because it's such a major issue. I personally feel we need to work really hard on getting unanimity on this.
Absolutely. I'm just
I don't
saying.
think a 4-1 or a 3-2 vote is going to indicate how strongly we feel as an organization about this.
Oh, I agree with you completely. I just was saying, I think that just having it be 1 month is a good idea. If everybody feels that they can get the information that they need in 1 month, I don't want to be putting it off for 6 months. It
Yes,
seems like we should come to a conclusion quickly.
yes, I agree. Okay,
Thank you. I just wanted to restate that, again, I mentioned that I didn't have the information to make the assessment myself, but I was equally opposed to the wording of the resolution itself.
Right.
I didn't think that was appropriate. It's not the type of resolution that I've ever seen the Park District pass before. So I think if that could be altered in the same way, I'd appreciate it.
I would agree.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, what this means is we get added to a list of pros or cons. That's all it
right.
really means. So I can certainly mess with the wording here.
Yeah, that'd be appreciated.
okay. Then
Thank
we
you.
will table this item for a month and revisit it in our first meeting in April. So that's the last new item, 10 reports and announcements. Any questions or comments about the recreation highlights or the investment report? No? Okay, very good. I had just one comment, Rochelle. I really liked the calendar of events that you put in there.
Mhm.
I know Aline does a great job of highlighting important events that affect the entire board, but can't get everything in there. So having that calendar for a couple months in advance is perfect. The only suggestion I might make is any of those events that require advanced registration would be helpful to know, so that we don't show up to something and say, I'm sorry, we were sold out, you can't come in. So
Yeah, Raquel came up with this idea, so she's going to turn out to be just as good as James, I think. But yeah, her plan is to have it so that you guys will have it way ahead of time and you'll know to go buy your tickets from McCray Ranch or whatever.
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. If no other comments or questions on that, department reports, Parks Division. Mr. Mooney.
Thank you, Chair Hupper. Real quick report. We currently have 3 RFPs out, landscape services, as well as custodial services, and then also our drought response and irrigation services. So these are contracts that need to be renewed. And so we've met our term on those. And so we put them out to request for proposal, and staff is in the middle of working through all 3 of those. As well as I know Mr. Friedel shared the kind of damage assessment from the last rains, but park staff is working hard to kind of get the parks back into shape. Obviously, we lost some trees. There's some ruts and some debris throughout the park system, and the guys are doing a good job out there cleaning it up, as well as out in open space. So that's what I have, and available for questions.
Do we have any questions for Mr. Mooney? No, just a comment. Your timing was ideal. You're going to have the most spectacular water report that we've seen in just years and years. So
I'm excited for January as well as February. So
I'm sure
we'll
you
get
are.
there.
Thank you very much. Recreation Division, Ms. Callis.
Yes, thank you, Chair Huffer. I've got to talk a lot tonight. So just a couple of things. I wanted to let you guys know, I don't know if you've ever seen this or not, but we talk a lot about needing staff and hard to find staff, which is all true right now. But my team is doing a really good job getting out into the community. They have been going, and in fact, the next couple of days, they're going to be at Moore Park College and CLU at job fairs. And Aquatics actually came up with their own little trifold for summer jobs, and they are going out to the high schools and giving these to the kids and encouraging them to get lifeguard certified so that they can get a job in the summer and stuff. And so really, Dee is someone who does an excellent job at growing her staff, but that is something that everybody is trying to do. And with COVID, we kind of lost 2 years of staff and we didn't get to grow people, and we lost a lot of folks. So we're kind of just get back into that, ability to grow and train and get people to move up. So, but they're doing a really good job with that. So that's cool. Don't forget this weekend, you have the craft fair. So if you need to go shopping for things, local artists type stuff, that is at Borchard. Don't forget the Unplugged event is happening. So we're taking your pictures. Don't leave after the meeting for how you unplug. And then I just wanted to throw March 10th. Don't forget you're at the Global and Teen Center reopening. We're going to see Sitting on Stacy. And then I wanted to thank George because I believe he was out at the commission today, sitting on interviews potentially. So he'll give us a little report out on that later, but thank you. And with that, I'm available for questions.
Any questions for Ms. Callis? Director Lang?
A comment, and I was also looking at Michelle. Some of the things that the MRCA is doing, because we've had a real challenge bringing on staff. In addition to growing, we've had some people leave. We're now doing little videos, and Michelle can expand more, where we've got current employees being interviewed and talking about why they think, CRPD is the employer of choice and what benefits and what it brings to the whole picture. It's not another job. There's satisfied employees that are really sharing their personal feelings about working for the MRCA or could be working for CRPD. So just thinking, there might be some information, I don't know. I mean, it might not, fit the same requirements, but anyway, it's just a thought as I was listening to Rochelle and looking at Michelle.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? If not, Ms. Smith, Management Services.
Thank you, Chair and Directors. So we wrapped up the CRPD audit and now we're wrapping up the MRCA audit, which means we get to go right into budgets. So I just wanted to give a shout out to my finance staff. They've been working really hard and they get a little bit of downtime for like a week. And so they get to enjoy it. And then the class and comp is going really well and staff did a great job hitting our deadlines for submitting our questionnaires to our consultant, and the consultant is now setting up interviews. So we're currently on track with the schedule, which is actually amazing that we got over 100 people to fill out forms on time correctly and send them. So that was great. And that's all I have to report. So I'm available for questions.
Any questions for Ms. Smith? Director Lang?
An apology, Melissa.
I'm next to Rochelle.
Yeah, Michelle, yeah, I'm sorry. I know better.
We knew who you knew.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Nope. We'll move along to our general manager's report.
Yeah, really quick. I didn't catch at the beginning of Andrew's remarks whether you said we had kind of given some feedback to the city on the parks and open space element, but so at the staff level, we got to see the general plan park and open space element, so we were able to give a little bit of a feedback on that. So I think the city's getting ready to start moving the general plan along again, which will be neat. And we'll see if they took our comments pretty well. I think I felt good after the meeting, so that was good. Another big thing that Andrew, it started with Tom. Andrew's been there the whole time, and then I'm kind of jumping in here as we've contracted with SCI again. Blair, if you remember, they did our Quimby fee study when we dealt with the boulevard and adjusting our fees for the boulevard. That might have been before you guys, right? Okay, so it wasn't that much before you guys. So it was maybe in
2015.
2015.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're bringing them back in to look at how to deal with our Quimby and the idea of a Quimby fee and a park impact fee. And right now in 2015, if you might recall, the idea was there was going to be like maybe as many as 200 new units on the boulevard. Like literally we adjusted our ordinance with the idea that there was this very small number of additional units that might be on the boulevard, but we know that world has kind of been turned upside down. you know, because of the state RENA numbers and the laws encouraging the cities to kind of add units. So we've been working with Blair, and we may be looking to do a study session in sometime in the next, say, 8 to 12 weeks, and kind of sit you guys down for a really in-depth, roll up our sleeves, look at what we want to do in the future, what our current service levels are, what the justifications and reasons for the fees are, and then show you what a Quimby fee could be and what it's justified as. And the reason I'm going to slow walk that and really talk you guys through it, because the numbers are going to be pretty big, because they're really big, because that's what it means to have all this additional housing and the park, the impacts to the parks in terms of serving the public with the standard that we have and the current service levels we have. So we'll show you guys that, and we'll go through it, you know, at a pace that you guys can absorb. But eventually we're gonna be pretty much required to ask the city to change its ordinance and update its ordinance to deal with it's from the 70s. It just needs to be updated, and we want to work with them and get something to them that they feel like they can just cut and paste into their ordinance. So that's what we're working on. And just as a point of interest, Capri, Matt Duarte and Capri staff are going to be here in this room for training on Tuesday. They're going to do kind of like districts in this area. So certainly Rancho Simi and Pleasant Valley will be there, but I think Isla Vista, maybe a few other rec and park districts that want to drive here. But yeah, this room will probably have, I don't know, 60 people in it, something like that for training. So Tuesday, and it's on all sorts of different risk management and insurance topics. It'll be a blast. But we're hosting, so that's it. And I'm available for questions.
Any questions to the general manager? Just, you were talking about changing the Quimby fees and going back to that proposed initiative. I seem to recall in some of the language there that they said that any fee changes could be made retroactive. It was either January 1st, 22 or January 1st, 23. If you're looking at changing Quimby fees, could that be impacted by that initiative?
It might. I think that development impact fees with a very sound sort of nexus study behind them will probably be okay still. But I'd be, yeah, that'll be something to be paying attention to. But
presumably SCI have that anyways.
Yeah.
Okay. There are no other questions. We'll move along to directors' reports and follow-up reports on meetings, conferences attended. Director Nichols, I'll start on your end.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. Since our last board meeting, I met with Chair Huffer on February 27th with the recognition committee. And then this morning, we had a California Rec and Park District Association Legislative Committee meeting, which was very productive. We actually established our legislative platform. We approved the draft, which will now be sent to the full board for approval at our next meeting on March 15th. And that was all in association with our newly hired consulting firm, our PPG, which doing a great job for us, getting a lot of positive feedback from the membership. And just so you know, while there's 4 members of the board on this legislative committee, we often get 25 to 35 people attending virtually at these meetings. So there's a lot of interest, including our general manager and Ms. Smith, are active participants, not just in the wings. They are actively participating. So appreciate their being there. But I think we're really making some strides as a statewide organization on behalf of Rec and Park districts. Our recognition is elevating rapidly in the halls of the Capitol. In fact, on March 15th, our board meeting will include the board members going to the Capitol to meet with legislators. So that's a positive thing. In addition to that, CARPD is actually sponsoring a bill this year for the very first time And we actually have an author, Assemblymember Pacheco from the Salinas area is author, and we're getting a lot of interest in other authors. League of Cities is actually co-sponsoring that with us. So we're rapidly climbing the ladder of being a recognized organization in the state. And, Rec and Park has not been had a lot of attention lately at that level, and it's rapidly changing. And I think just a lot of the efforts that we've made to bring on this new organization is helpful. To further amplify that, we changed our dues structure this last year to garner an additional $70,000 in revenue for the association. All of that, which is to support this legislative group that we've hired to contract with us. I think we've already seen the dividends paying for that. So we should have a very good year. We should, by the end of this, well, I say this session because it's a 2-year bill session, so it may take a couple of years. But by the end of the next couple of years, I think you will see that California Rec and Parks up and down the state will have a completely elevated stature, much more than we ever had in the past. So it's looking very good, and I'm learning a whole lot about the legislative process.
Sounds like it.
It's sort of like watching a sausage game.
That or a cricket game.
Thank you.
Yes.
Director Cussler, do you have anything?
I was at the pillar dedication for Claudia Bill de la Pena, and that was very nice. So that's about it.
Thank you. Director Buss?
I attended the Caneo Youth and Families Coalition meeting, and Claudia de la Pena was there and Susan Holtz, so it was nice to see her. And we were talking about doing the summit, and the summit this year, we're not going to have perhaps a specific topic for the nonprofits, but more trying to figure out what the nonprofits in the area are doing and how we can all better support each other with what they all are doing. So that way they can lean on one another as well. So more of just like a brain cloud, and then we'll create ways for them like Google Docs or what have you, so then they can really see and then go back and connect so that they are more efficient to help each other. So that's it.
Thank you. Director Lang?
Oh, my goodness. Well,
That's why I leave you to last, George.
I can imagine and I understand totally. But I'm first going to share this photo that I referred to in my little comments of a photo taken with a young man who had been a lifer, and it's just so gratifying to see these people go through the transition. And I had conversation with Tim afterwards, and there's a lot of progress being made in this direction. And unfortunately, we're always going to have issues with people not wanting to do the right thing. But also, I'm going to piggyback on a comment that Rochelle made on the commission interviews. Today was my first time doing this. As you know, in the past, it was Susan Holt, who I think she'd been doing it for 2 or 3 years or something. It was something kind of new. And I think it's important. It provides me as a board member to share with you as board members the quality of these applicants. There was a total of 9 being interviewed today, and maybe 7 were existing commission members on the board. And it's their first time to want to get involved with the commission. And 2 of them just recently moved into our area. This is their way of getting to know, the Caneo Valley, and their impression of, this is a first impression, Rochelle, of how they feel about our community is going to the adult center and seeing not only the types of programs, but the number and variety of programs that we offer through the adult center. So we should be really proud that it's through that adult center that these 2 individuals who just recently came into our community, one less than just 3 or 4 months. But the quality of these people and a number of the current commissioners who are reapplying, showing their enthusiasm for the commission, the adult center and so forth is really gratifying. And this one fellow, and I need to talk to you afterwards, Rochelle, this one fellow who's the chair of one of the committees is like a new kid on the block. He just showed his enthusiasm and exuberance for what he's doing with the commission. And bottom line, he's been doing it for over 10 years, but to still see that enthusiasm and his feeling towards CRPD, the commission and so forth is really great. So we're in good hands, the adult commission, not only now, but in the future, and it's good. Also, Chair Huffer and myself attended the presentation of the check to the Thousand Oaks department, the check from Congress.
Brownlee and Brownlee.
Brownlee, yeah, made the presentation. I'll get the
Service yard.
service yard, right, and Public Works. The Public Works Department was basically the recipient of it. Had a Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy. I happened to be down in Palm Desert and did a Zoom meeting from Palm Desert for the Conservancy. And then yesterday here at CRPD for the first time since before COVID, MRCA met face to face in person and the benefits of it. And we've, seen the benefits of being together, interaction and so forth. But something very unique happened yesterday, totally unknown to me.
You want help?
Yeah, maybe, yeah. And you can lean it on the table.
Or here,
Well, yeah. And you can share with the staff too. This is our staff first try at creating a flag for the MRCA and the Conservancy organizations they've got that much pride in what we do throughout the state and so forth. So they thought that we deserve to have our own flag, flying right from fire trucks or whatever, because we're throughout the state. So they presented this to me as the chair for a number of years. So I was very honored and taken back by the gratitude they shared with me by presenting this to me. So I was very, very pleased and glad to be able to share it with you. That concludes my report.
Thank you, George. Most of the things I was
You're not
involved
gonna
in
be here
already
for
been
a picture?
mentioned.
daughter.
Not mentioned, I did meet week before last with Mayor McNamee. Sat down for a cup of coffee and had a good conversation. Now he knows who I am and I know who he is. So as I told him, it'd be, it's a good opportunity for individual park district directors to get to know individual council members or school board members. So I think that was a very useful meeting. George mentioned the check turned over to the Public Works Department at the Municipal Service Center. I think you copied the entire board, Jim, on the city is, you sent a letter supporting the city's application to also have a similar solar and battery backup facilities at the teen center, the Global Center and the library, which would be absolutely fantastic. And I guess battery backup is starting to get to the point maybe where, we can maybe look at that in some of our existing facilities. And since Brownlee is passing out checks, maybe she can pass out one or two to us as well. So what other things? As Doug said, the recognition committee met and Jim sent out emails to all of us about the process for the
Gratitude circle.
thank you very much. Gratitude Circle. I guess it's getting late. I was at the pillar dedication for Claudia Bill de la Peña. And was it yesterday or what is today? The third or the second? The second. Yesterday, I guess it was. Jim and I were at an event at Cal Lutheran, their State of the University talk primarily by what's the president's name? I'm forgetting.
Dr. Lori Barlotta.
Anyway, the several staff, but primarily the president of the university spoke and I had a chance to meet a couple of the staff people and see if we can maybe develop that relationship. So that's all I have to report. Request for status reports and items of subsequent agendas. Do we have anything?
Oh, no, sorry, this is your time.
Okay. 13 items from the public. Do we have any public standing by? No, okay. Please tell us we do not have an executive closed session.
We have no need for a closed session.
Thank you very much. In that case, I will adjourn tonight's meeting. We are supposed to stick around.
I see what you wrote.